Hello, everybody. It's Aaron. Welcome to another episode of Feed the Beast. I tried to record an episode the other night, and during the recording, the server tick rate just went to hell, and I decided to scrap it and start all over. But I went ahead and I did some of the groundwork, I guess you could say. I've been doing a little work around the base, and the first thing I did was I cleaned up this area. During the tick rate problem, my little innervation dynamos, they ran out of gunpowder. This thing wasn't killing mobs the way it was supposed to. So I went ahead and I ran, if I can get my wrench right, I ran the energy conduit up and connected it to, well, it goes all the way up to the bank up there. And I went ahead and I ran my item and fluid conduits up through the wall and put some facades. So they all route the same way. I just kind of ran the conduits inside the walls. And what I think I'm going to do, instead of having this long line of conduit here, I'll probably pop a tesseract somewhere over here and kind of eliminate this. I've been thinking about the future. I think I'm ready to make reactors and turbines. I think this power system has proven itself. When I say this power system, I mean these dynamos. What are they called again? The reactant dynamos. I haven't used the boiler in some time, and all of this stuff is offline. I just haven't had a chance to tear down the engines yet. So I will do that shortly. What I did in the failed recording, I wanted to set up autocrafting. And I was debating on how many molecular assemblers to make. And I figured, let's just swing for the fences. I'll just fill up the wall. I've been having a problem with this base since it's not an odd number. It's really hard to arrange things, so I just decided I'll make a whole wall of them. By the way, I also finished off the floor. I made some covers and stuff like that, just in anticipation of running my dense cables and stuff wherever they need to go. This was a huge pain. As you can see, there are a lot of cable anchors, and I ended up just using regular Fluix smart cable back here and separated it with anchors. There are a couple of these that have only 7 channels used, and what I had to do was 1 or 2 of them, I think this may be the only one, it actually does not have an interface here or here. So these 2 molecular assemblers, or this one and that one, they don't have all 3 connections like they could, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think this will be plenty. I hope it'll be plenty. I can't see myself needing any more than this. So I went ahead and I also already made some coprocessors and some crafting storage. And I figured what we can do is we'll put them back here. I've already run another line for more deep storage units if I want them. I kind of just mimicked these 2 right here, and I figured we can take some more smart cable and I'll give it a little room. We'll just run it like this, and if I need some extra room in the future, this will make I think I'm gonna make 5 2x2s. I can always expand this direction 1, or I can expand this direction. Since I don't really need this space, I just haven't felt like moving the Steve's Factory Manager stuff. We've got 7 octuple compressed cobblestone, which is also probably more than we'll ever need. So how we're going to put these, we're just going to do, I'm going to need to leave a space in between them too. I totally forgot about that. I don't want them to connect. I want separate ones. I haven't really figured out the best way to set this up yet, since I've only set up the auto crafting once. But I noticed before I set up one big unit, and it became a problem when I needed to auto craft something and send something to a machine through an interface at the same time. So I figured I'd make 5 separate ones, and hopefully that'll be enough to do what we need to do. Okay, so there are 4. I think these only take up 1 channel apiece. Looks like it. So we'll go ahead and put the last one right here. So we got 15 coprocessors and 5 64K crafting storage, which we may as well upgrade to 3 more sets. Not right now, but at some point in the future, I could probably go ahead and set them on this side as well. That might get a little tight, so I'll probably, when I do the deep storage units, I should have, I guess I don't have any more orange dense cable. I can just push this back 1 block so that they all fit. Why don't we go ahead and do that? Let's plan for the future instead of saying we'll just do it later. Okay, so that should work out just fine. Unfortunately, I could probably put 1 here, but I don't know if these will connect to the dense cable, so we'll probably end up with 1 here, 1 here, and then 1 back here, which is fine. So Brink left a comment on one of my episodes in the Mod Sauce season that when I make a pattern, I've already made a few. He said when I make a pattern, I could export it to one of these interfaces automatically. And I couldn't find the comment. I don't know how to do that. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. So if you guys know a way, once I make a pattern, like we need to make one for quartz glass, that's a biggie, since that's in the pattern recipe. So let's make that first. I'm pretty sure his comment said there's a way you can toss it in here somewhere and make it go immediately to one of these interfaces. Until I figure it out, I'm just going to be doing this. So I'm going to cover these up with the same blocks that are surrounding the monitors, which, by the way, I finally got working. I did have to, for some reason, remove some of the smart cable behind it and replace it. Just on like a few of them. Is really weird. There didn't seem to be a rhyme or reason to it. But once I removed the cable and replaced it, the facade went on just fine. So some of these things I really need to know, and some of them are really just for bragging rights, like glowstone and redstone. I mean, I'm probably never going to use this much redstone. It probably doesn't need to be on a monitor. In any case, this is what we're going to be looking like with these kinds of facades in between each one. But as I am not aware of a way to auto insert these, I'm going to have to wait until I fill up all 3 of these and then put a facade on it and then just kind of build as we go. I guess I could put them in from behind. I think I can reach them from back here. So I may do that. I haven't really decided yet. That actually might be the way to go. So let's see, we'll do half of this. We'll see what it looks like. I have a couple of facades already, and I've got some of these. That's probably not good. So if I recall, the recipe goes like that. So if we just pop these on here, doesn't look bad. The problem with this kind of thing is these things are see-through, so you can kind of see what's back there, but I'm really not too worried about it. Uh-oh, what did I mess up? It looks like I put one on top of that. And I really wanted to get that back without breaking the interfaces, but sometimes it happens. And I think I need one of these in here too. Alright, so this is our awesome wall of auto crafting. I just have to fill it up with patterns now. So what my tentative plan is, wherever the room is, I've put a terminal down here. I ran the smart cable. You may have seen it before. It runs up and over. Not a very efficient way to do it, but since I laid the base out this way, I really don't have a choice. So what I plan on doing is running the power. I'm going to put the machines probably in a row like this on this row, and then I'll put another one right here, and then I may end up with a few more because I don't know how many I'm going to need. I want to start with the industrial craft, and I want to automate the production of things like copper wire, tin casings, plates, stuff like that. So I'm going to need 3 metal formers at least. So if I have one, we can kind of set up a rough version of it. I think when I picked up my machine, I got my basic item casing back. So the metal former, if I recall, is a pretty complicated recipe, and I don't think I have any of the cables yet. So the reason I want to do this is because, you can make it with the hammer and the cutter, but it's not very efficient. So that is my reasoning for wanting to automate this. Probably run it on lava power for the beginning of it, and then eventually we'll switch to solar panels. We'll auto craft all of those, of course. And luckily the coal powder recipe, it's ore dictionaried with the pulverized coal, so I could sag mill a bunch of coal or whatever I want to do. And we set up level emitters to keep glass and quartz dust in here. If you recall that episode, this actually might change to interfaces since I can now auto craft things. I'll probably switch this one and this one for the quartz dust to interfaces and just do it on demand. I'll make sure I have a fair amount in the system, and I think we could probably go ahead and do that right now. I think I have some time. So we actually don't need the level emitter anymore. Either of the level emitters. So I did have some interfaces. I think they're in here. Yeah, here they are. So what we're going to need is we're going to need to make a pattern for nether quartz dust, and I think it's 1 for 1. We're going to need to switch this to processing pattern. Let me verify that. Yeah, it's just 1 for 1. So we can go ahead and encode this. And if we go back here behind the machine, I think that goes in this one since it's a sag mill, right? So we can put our interface on the back and we can put a pattern in here. And we've got 8 more slots, so whatever we need to pulverize into something else, we can do that. And this one was sand for glass. So let's go ahead and make a pattern for that as well. I always have trouble with these elevators. So we'll clear this, we'll put sand, and we'll put glass. We'll encode that pattern. I'm going to make one of those Ender IO staffs of traveling so I can warp through the wall. I just looked at the recipe and it's much more complicated than it used to be. So we've got both of those patterns in there. If we come over here, let's look at, where's my button? Craftable, right? If we do nether quartz dust, we'll do 20. We go next. I just usually let it do automatic processors. So we'll start that, and it should send 20 nether quartz to this thing. And the same thing for the glass. If we do that, I think if you hit shift, if you hold shift, it turns from next to start. You could skip the whole thing where you choose what processors to use. So since this has a pattern, if we have something to craft that needs that, it'll send it automatically. So if I need some quartz glass in the future, it needs glass and Certus quartz dust or nether quartz dust. If we run out of either, it'll automatically send it to either of these machines depending on what it is, and that basically negates the purpose of the level emitter, unless I need to, like, you know, craft a bunch of glass to build something or whatever. So I'm going to do the same thing for a lot of the industrial craft things, at least the things that are made with the metal former. Since the metal former has 3 modes, we'll have to do probably at least 2, maybe 3 different metal formers. And it looks like Brink just Skyped me back. There's something called the interface terminal. This thing. So I don't know where we would put such a thing. Let's make one. We'll check it out. Let's see if I have the stuff in here. Let's see if we can use one of these interfaces. We can. Excellent. So, we could probably lose an interface right here if we wanted to. Since this is going to take up another channel, let's, we'll lose this one. Put our interface terminal right there. And there we go. So anything I want to go to the molecular assembler, I can interface through here. I take out the patterns and they're gone. I actually cannot shift click. I can click and drag them in here though. So I don't know which 2 those go to. I'm sure each one of those slots corresponds to one of them. But if we take a look here in this one now, it's empty. And if we put these back in, they should show up in the interface terminal. So I'm glad he finally saw my Skype message. So this will make it a lot easier. I won't have to go behind the wall anymore, and it'll make it a lot easier. I'm not sure why there's an ME drive slot here. And there's the sag mill. Maybe it's because I have an interface somewhere back here. I guess that just, I mean, it's an interface terminal. It makes sense. It interfaces with everything connected, or every interface connected to your network. And I have a drive here and I have an interface here, which is why this interface shows up on that interface terminal. So I will just forget that one because we don't need to do anything with it. It's just connected to the network, so it does it, or it shows it, and there we go. So this is our awesome wall of auto processing stuff. So that'll do it for this episode, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or anything of the sort, please leave them down below. If I have overlooked anything, because like I said earlier, I've only done autocrafting in this version of Applied Energistics once. That was in Mod Sauce, and that was very brief because we did a map reset and a pack switch shortly after I set it all up. Please leave me suggestions because I do take your feedback into account. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you guys next time.